Hey, welcome. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Steven Speck. I'm a managing partner at Russell Capital, where I run a multi-million-dollar portfolio of real estate. Now, every week I put together these videos, not because I have anything to sell you. I don't have anything to sell you. I simply put together these videos because I want to document how I'm building this portfolio of real estate, help and bring others along for the journey, and hopefully help other people become more intelligent investors as well. Now, today, I wanted to talk about knowing what your time is worth. And the reason I've thought about this is because you ever just kind of sit and think and things just come to you. And the other day I was sitting and thinking and looking at an empty house that actually my father owns. And he had asked me to help do some work to make some money or something like that. And it was a small amount of money relative to how much the house is worth when it's rented, right? And it's just sitting empty, and it's been sitting empty for a while. And the thought that came to me is like, why would I spend hours of my day trying to make, say, $500 for whatever task he was wanting me to do, instead of simply leasing up an asset that's going to make you, let's say, $1,500 or something like that every single month, and it's not going to take you a ton of time in order to do it. And I don't know why this got me thinking about what my time is worth, or what maybe your time is worth, but I have heard from a lot of well-off people, maybe doctors, lawyers, dentists, whatever, a lot of high-income earning people who want to get into real estate because they're thinking it's passive income, passive income, passive income. Then the next thing you know, they're out and they buy a rental house, a single family rental, or maybe a small multifamily or something like that. And then they're changing a toilet. And I'm like, why are you doing that, man? That makes zero sense, okay? And let's put some numbers around it. Why does it make zero sense for you to be doing that? Okay, as a doctor, maybe you make $100, $200, $300 an hour, and you're specialized in knowing how to do medicine. But now you're taking time, even if it's in your off hours, to go and replace a toilet, let's say. Something that if you really know what you're doing, the toilet costs $100 and it can take you 30 minutes to pull one off and drop a new one on. 30 minutes. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, it could take you 3 hours to put on the wax ring right and seal it in and get it all right. And instead, the value of your time is, say, $300 an hour, and you could hire somebody to do it for $50 for an hour. So you spent 3 hours because you don't really know what you're doing, which is $1,000 of value, to do a task that was worth $50. Okay, and is all this like, I'm all about working hard. I grew up on a farm. Okay, I grew up on a farm, and so we don't believe, there aren't really weekends. There's 104 extra days in the year outside of the business days that are weekends. We work those. So I'm all about and understanding working hard. But there's a difference between working hard and working smart. For example, say we have a pile of dirt, and we have two different people. One person is going to move this pile of dirt, and they're going to use a hand shovel to move this pile of dirt. Okay, it's a big pile. The other person is going to use an excavator. Who's it going to take longer to do? Definitely the person that's using a hand shovel. It could take them the entire day to do it, but somebody with an excavator, a big heavy machine, can do it in like 10 minutes. Okay? Who did more work? Trick question. They did the same amount of work. Because work is just what? It's mass. It's force times mass, or mass times distance equals work. Something like that is the physics example. It's measuring things, and so outside of physics, figuring out what work is measuring it by the outcome. What are you doing? What's the end result? And so the reason I use this example is because there's so many times, especially in our culture today, and I used to, struggle with this, where it's like you associate movement with progress. And so you think more movement, more progress. And what you don't realize is that you're actually taking something that's worth $300 an hour and you're selling it for $50. Okay? So it's very important to know what your time is worth, what your skill is worth, and make sure that you're allocating that in the right manner. If you're a doctor, you might be working harder by taking that extra hour that you would have messed around with some toilet in a rental house and sleeping, because it allows you to focus better on the job that actually makes the money. And then you can take that money that you make and outsource that investment in, say, real estate or something else to somebody who's a specialist and works on it all day, every day, because you're using better leverage. You're maximizing what your time is worth, okay? Another way to do this is the person who owns real estate 100%, say a single family rental, owns real estate 100%. They take the calls, they do all the management, versus somebody who invests in a private placement piece of real estate, with, say, like a company like ours. They actually could be doing the same amount of work, but the person with the private placement never has to talk to a tenant, never has to show up and do the actual physical manual labor. They don't have to walk the property. They've outsourced that work to an expert. They're doing the same amount of work. They're maximizing their time versus the other person who's doing it inefficiently. And so I guess the real reason that I'm putting this together is just lesson number one is to understand, what is your time actually worth? You know, you've got to know what it is on a per dollar per hour basis. And then once you figure that out, don't take a $300 hour and sell it for $50. Okay? That's lesson number one. Figure out what your time's worth. Lesson number two is make sure that you're engaging, they kind of go hand in hand. Make sure you're engaging the proper leverage. Okay? That you're actually not trying to confuse movement with progress. Okay? Just because you're moving more doesn't mean you're actually doing more. The person who shovels is going to have to sweat a lot longer and have to do stuff for a longer period of time, but that doesn't mean that they actually did more work. They could have done it the smart way. Figure out what your time's worth. Do it the smart way. I hope this video provided you value. If so, like, subscribe, send me a comment down below. Let me know what I need to do to improve it, and I look forward to talking to you next week.